Hey kids, welcome to section 8.5, operating and maintaining a vehicle. Today we're going to compute the total cost per mile of operating and maintaining a vehicle. And the big question we want to think about today is, if you could buy a new vehicle today, how long would you want to keep it? Would you drive it until it was completely dead? Would you get a new car every year? Would you drive it until you hit a certain mileage and then trade it in? There's all sorts of different ways that you can think about how long you want to keep your car. But you should think about how long you're going to keep it in terms of maintaining. So here's some vocab. Although the media focuses a significant amount of attention on gasoline prices, operating and maintaining a vehicle involves numerous costs. They can be classified as variable costs and fixed costs. So, variable costs increase as the number of miles driven increases. So, the more you drive your car, the higher your costs are. And so, some of these variable costs include the cost of gasoline, oil, filters, tires, and repairs. Obviously, the more miles you drive, the more gas you have to purchase and put in your car, the faster you have to change your oil and change your filters, the quicker your tires may go bald, and maybe you have to repair different things or get tune-ups. The other type of cost involved is fixed costs, and these are costs that remain the same regardless of how many miles you drive. So these could include things like car insurance, registration fees, and like the little sticker that goes on the back of your car, loan interest, and depreciation. Now, depreciation is something that everyone needs to worry about, and that's how much your car is going to go down in value from one year to the next because of its age and condition. And so you may not realize this, but as soon as you sit in that car and drive that car off the lot after you purchased it, it automatically goes down in value. And every year it's going to go down in value until it becomes a classic, and then it might start going up in value if you maintain it properly and keep it in good condition. So depreciation is just how much your car is going down in value from year to year. You can calculate the depreciation by taking the purchase price, subtracting what the value of the car is the day that you calculate it, and dividing it by how many years you've owned it. Then you can calculate what the cost per mile is going to be. Now, in order to do this, you need to know how to read an odometer, which is the instrument on your car dashboard that tells you how many miles you've driven. I'm pretty sure that almost everybody's odometer is digital now or has the little, dials that spin every time you drive a mile. But you can find how much it's going to cost to maintain your car per mile by taking all the variable costs, adding all the fixed costs, adding the depreciation, and then dividing it by how many miles the car has been driven. So this can allow you maybe to compare different cars or see how much your car is really costing you to operate and maintain. So let's see some examples. So example number 1, Chantel Jones purchased a new two-door coupe for $24,590 2 years ago. She drove 14,322 miles last year and kept a record of all auto expenses. She estimates the vehicle's present value at $19,219. So part A says to calculate her car's depreciation. Well, notice we have this table here that lists her variable costs: gasoline, oil changes, maintenance, cleaning, tolls, and parking. All of these things change depending on how many miles she drives. But on the right-hand side of the table, we have fixed costs. These are things that don't change. So car insurance, license and registration, loan interest. Notice depreciation is blank. It is not part of the fixed costs. It is a separate entity. So if I want to calculate the car's depreciation, I take the value of the car when it was purchased, so $24,590. I subtract today's value of the car, $19,219, and I divide by how long we've owned the car, which is 2 years. And so if I do this, I want to make sure that I follow the order of operations. So I want to subtract and get an answer on top, and then divide, and I get $2,685.50. So that means that every year, Chantel should expect her car to go down in value almost $2,700. So you can see that after maybe 10 years, the car won't be worth anything. Okay, part B, calculate her total variable costs. So here's our variable costs. If I want to find the total variable costs, I can add all of these up, and that's going to give me $2,125.10. So $2,125.10. To calculate her total fixed costs, we're going to look at these three values here: the insurance, license, registration, and loan interest. And if I add all of these up, I'm going to get $1,490.93. So $1,490.93. And then part D, to calculate her cost per mile to operate her vehicle, we're going to take the total variable cost, $2,125.10, add the total fixed cost, $1,490.93, add the depreciation, $2,685.50, and then divide by the number of miles it's been driven, which is 14,322. So if I add all of this up on the top, I get $6,301.53. And then I'm dividing by our total mileage. And money always has two decimals, so I'm going to get 44 cents per mile. So Chantel can kind of use that to estimate how much it's going to cost to maintain her car based on the miles that she's going to drive. Awesome. Okay, example number 2. Dee Dee Farrar purchased a new car 3 years ago for $33,500. Its current value estimate is $19,900. Annual variable costs this year were $995.60. The cost of insurance was $2,350, registration was $132.50, and loan interest totaled $1,080. She drove 13,540 miles this year. Calculate her cost per mile to operate her vehicle last year. Okay, there's a lot going on in this problem. So let's kind of follow example 1 in terms of what we should do. So let's find our total variable costs. Well, that's done for us. Total variable costs are $995.60. That was already done. Okay, we can find our total fixed costs. We can add up the insurance, $2,350. We can add the registration, $132.50. And we can add the loan interest, $1,080. If I add these three numbers up, I get $3,562.50. I'm going to scoot up a little. Okay. So now I can find my depreciation. These are the three things that I need in order to be able to find the cost per mile. Depreciation is the purchase price, $33,500, minus today's present value, $19,900, and divided by the number of years the car has been owned, which is 3. So if I subtract on top 13,600, divide by 3, I get a depreciation of $4,533.33. Okay, so those are all the values I need for the formula. Let's now put it into the formula. So we can find the cost per mile by taking the total variable, $995.60, plus the total fixed, $3,562.50, plus the depreciation, $4,533.33. And then I divide by the number of miles it's been driven, which is 13,540. So if I do all this and then divide, I'm going to get 67 cents per mile. So this car is a little bit more to maintain than the car in number one, but it all depends on how many miles you're driving. There are just so many variables that go into maintaining the cost of your vehicle. So always be on the lookout for maybe ways that you can save money, maybe bundle your trips up so that you don't run to Champaign every weekend, maybe go once a month instead to save on gas. Okay, so that's how you calculate the cost per mile. These next two problems have to do with maintenance on the vehicle. So, example number 3, these have to do with like big rig trucks, like big old semis. So, trucks receive oil changes approximately every 8,000 miles. So, whatever company this person works for, they're supposed to get an oil change every 8,000 miles. If truck 105, so that's just one of the trucks, had an oil change at 62,543 miles, when is it due for its next oil change? If the odometer reads 68,549, how many more miles can the truck be driven before the next oil change? Okay, so when is it due for the next oil change? So we'll say next oil change. So I'm supposed to get an oil change every 8,000 miles. And right now I had one at 62,543 miles. So if I add 8,000 miles to that, that's going to tell me when my next oil change should be, which is at 70,543 miles. Now, chances are that's not necessarily exactly when you're going to get it, but that's the suggested. The next question says, how many more miles can the truck be driven before its next oil change? So right now it's at 68,549. So if we have to change it at 70,543, and we're currently at 68,549, that means that this person can drive another 1,994 miles before it needs another oil change. Okay. All right, example number 4. Truck 107 started with a full tank of fuel on Monday morning, and the odometer reading was 85,743. On Friday, it took 225 gallons of diesel fuel, that's a ginormous amount, to fill the tank, and the odometer reading was 87,544. How many miles was the truck driven between fill-ups, and approximately how many miles per gallon did the truck average? Round to the nearest tenths place if necessary. Okay, so if we want to know how many miles the truck was driven, we'll say miles driven. We can take the ending mileage, which is 87,544, and we can subtract the starting mileage, 85,743. And that means that this truck has been driven 1,801 miles. That's a lot of miles in a week. If I want to find how many miles per gallon, I can take how many miles it's been driven, 1,801, and I can divide by how many gallons were put in, which is 225. And if I divide those, I get 8.0 miles per gallon, which is really awful until you think that this is a big diesel truck. Awesome. Okay. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to me and let me know. And as always, keep calm and keep trucking.